be joined once again by an old friend. He is a play-by-play commentator for MLS Season Pass on Apple TV. His name is Adrian Healey. Adrian, good to see you again, man. I,
Hey,
I,
good to
I
see
guess,
you, Landon, in a place that is not South Congress, where I
yeah,
had the pleasure of bumping into you last week. I'm gonna have to go down there more often on a lunch hour if I know you're strolling the streets.
do it. Let's get lunch together. I go out and have lunch on South Congress a few times a week. Jeremiah, I don't think I told you this, but I was out on my lunch break and just here comes. It's usually just like a bunch of tourists walking down South Congress, but I look up the sidewalk and Adrian Healey's walking towards me.
Have, have I gravitated slightly above the status of tourist? I hope so. I hope I look a bit more like a local now.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
Maybe I
absolutely.
don't sound like it, but
I don't. How's your y'all? Have you
y'all.
got that down yet, y'all?
No, I do bring it out, and I've been bringing it out doing the rounds for the Apple TV. You know, in Salt Lake, you get a bit of a funny look when you give them a yawl, but I do bring it out. It doesn't sound the same in a British accent, but it's certainly eyebrow raising, I think.
Well, I think that makes you make a little bit more of an Austinite. The last time we had you on was right before the season started, and we
Yeah,
talked about sort of the Apple schedule. And I think at that point in time, you thought maybe it was going to be a little more of a regional schedule, and found out you're going to spend a lot of time in California, and you're working in 6 week increments. So now you've got through your first 6 weeks, or 7 weeks maybe on the job. Like, how has that changed for you, or has
well,
it?
regional, it turns out, according to the Apple definition of regional, is anything west of the Mississippi, basically, which is which is what me and Kobe Jones, my partner, have been doing. We've been to San Jose twice. We've been to Kansas City. We've been to Salt Lake City. We're going back to Salt Lake in a couple of weeks. We're going up to Seattle in 2 or 3 weeks. Yeah, so we got the first 6 weeks ahead of a ball being kicked in a league, and we were told that was going to be the way it was going to be moving forward. We'd get it in 6 week increments, so we'd know where we were going. Well, that's kind of changed. Surprise, surprise! And now we're getting it in sort of 2 week dribbles rather than a full 6 weeks. So they tend to come out 2 games at a time. But I do know where we're going to be into mid-May now, and just happy to be coming back to Q2. Landon and Jeremiah. It's I've been around the league, as you know, plenty, and seen plenty of other places. But having been just in Austin for 2 years, I kind of forgot that it isn't like that everywhere else. In fact, far from it. I mean, it's so far removed in some places that, oh my God, this is I forgot this is what it's like in many places in that place. So very happy to be coming back to Q2 this week.
Yeah, well, we'll all be happy to have you back as well. We don't get to listen to you during the game, but it's always fun to have you on there whenever we go back and do our rewatches. So, as Adrian said, he and Kobe Jones will be on the broadcast for Austin's upcoming game against the Vancouver Whitecaps. So, getting into that matchup, Vancouver has CONCACAF Champions League going on right now. They
Yeah.
played midweek last week and went down 3-0 to LAFC, which is an all too familiar scoreline for us here in Austin. And so we're kind of hoping that these two teams would beat up on each other and make the games a little more
Yeah.
easy for Austin. Didn't seem to be the case in LA's case. Do we think
No.
what do you think we can expect from that in regard to Vancouver coming in? I know they're going to have probably enough days to recover as far as just like a match to match schedule, but it is still a really compact stretch of games. And so do we think that there will be any effect of this stretch on this game this weekend?
Well, unfortunately, I think that was that chance for Austin to take advantage of perhaps a weakened Vancouver lineup has been totally obliterated by their first leg capitulation. Because if I'm Vanni Sartini, their manager now, I'm like, this is done. I mean, you're not going to LA with any hope at all of overturning a 3-0. So you're resting a lot of starters, and you're basically saying the Austin game is by far the most important. I don't know how that's not their mindset. I mean, are they really going to go to LAFC and win 4-0? I don't think so. So given that, I think we'll see some shuffling of the deck, and I think they will look at the Austin game as a big one, because they are in, other than that LAFC home CONCACAF Champions League, they are actually in a pretty good run of form at the moment, which is
Yeah,
little concerning perhaps for Austin.
they started off with 2 losses and then had 3 draws in a row and then had 2 wins in a row. And so they're just kind of slowly amping it up and have looked decent in their last few runouts. And so like players that we should be looking out for, I think Ryan Gauld is a guy we've seen several times now. I know he struggled to stay healthy at times last year, but he seems to be kind of mostly back to his former self. Julian Gressel has been playing really well this year. He has 4 assists already. He's been playing as more of a midfielder this year. So Vanni Sartini has them playing kind of like a 4-3-2-1 look. And Gressel has been one of the outside midfielders. And so you would think like with his skill set, you'd want him out wide, but it's actually suited him quite well. And he's still able to get into these spaces where he can provide service into the box and still be just really lean into his skill set. And so he's been dangerous doing that. And then newcomer Simon Betcher was a teammate of Kip Keller at SLU, has come on and scored 3 goals so far this year. And then Brian White, their normal starter at striker, he's second in the league in cumulative expected goals. And so he hasn't finished them all, but he is getting in a lot of positions to get really dangerous chances. What do you think we can expect from Vancouver going into this, and like what can Austin do to maybe slow them down a little?
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting challenge, guys. It really is, because there aren't many teams that really play as Vanni Sartini always calls it. We play the Christmas tree formation 4-3-2-1. But they have 2 very good attacking midfielders, as you said, in Gauld and Vitae. I love that you brought up Simon Betcher, because we talk about our number 9 sort of situation in Austin, and they have 3 number 9s up there as well, because Sergio Cordova was the player they actually signed to be their lead striker. Remember him from the playoff game against RSL, and he actually torched us for 2 goals in the first half. Well, he was their big money centre forward signing in the off season, but actually it was, first of all, Brian White, who kept him out of the team, and now it's Betcher. And Betcher is such a great story, as you say. Former teammate Kip Keller's, but he was playing next pro last year, and he's the perfect example of a player that can make that leap from next pro level to first team level. He's hit the ground running. I think if you're Josh Wolf in Austin, you're looking where are their weaknesses. Again, it may be a bit like us. It's central defense. I mean, Blackman and Veselinovic are their 2 central defenders. I think they can be got at. I think they've got a new Japanese goalkeeper, Takeoka, who isn't the biggest. He's great. They actually signed him specifically for his ball playing ability. Does that sound familiar? A goalkeeper playing, but he does come out. He comes out and sort of acts as another sweeper, and he will even start attacks. But he's a decent shot stopper, but he's not the biggest goalie. So I've seen him be beaten a couple of times this season where perhaps a bigger goalie might have stopped the shot. So if ever there was a game that Austin need to get back to what they did at RSL and have some shots from distance, I would say this is the game. They can get at this central defense, the defensive midfield. Maybe Kubas, it may be Ahmed. It's not their strength, and neither is their center of defense. So I think Austin should be plotting ways to attack the middle of the field defensively for Vancouver.
So Adrian, I assume you're probably not around as the team as much as you were last year, but are still around them more than most. Like, what do you sense the vibe is in Austin these days?
Yeah, I'm not around them as much, I must admit. I've become more of a sort of obviously a very interested onlooker and a sort of a very involved one, but I don't get to talk to them as much and sense the vibe day in, day out. I think we're in a difficult spot right now. There's no hiding that. Confidence and momentum are everything in this league. Everything, where the margins are so slim. And last year we had it in bucket loads, and this year we don't. And there's probably many reasons we could dig into a whole show on why we don't. But I still think, and some people may roll their eyes at this, I still think that the Violette kind of catastrophe has left left a scar there, which has taken some getting over, and it's bled over into the league form, and that's that was a massive confidence shake. And at the same time, this is a team that's trying to evolve tactically. I think it was the right decision to evolve tactically. I think they had to. I think the results kind of hit it a little bit, and the way that the season went last year kind of hit it. But in some ways, teams had started to figure us out by the second half of last year. So I think Josh Wolf and the coaching staff knew we had to try and do something differently. When you do something different, it doesn't come together overnight. So I think we're in a tough moment at the moment. It looks a little anemic. We look a little vulnerable. We look a little flat. But I don't think it's anything that, in the grand scheme of things, can't turn around. I've seen it too many times, guys, covering this league. Sort of teams that look lifeless and flat in April, even into May, then just kind of getting it together. And I know that's hard to hang your hat on, but I've seen it happen time and time again. Remember famously that LA Galaxy team in 2012 that won it all with Beckham and Keane and Donovan and star-studded. They lost 8 of their first 11 games that year. They looked horrible, absolutely horrible, and then kind of figured it out. And I think some of the veterans on our team are now been in the league long enough to realize it's not what you do at this time of year that counts. So I think it's at the moment we're looking at a season that's the exact opposite of last year. Last year we were flying at this time of the year in March, April, May, June, absolutely flying, and then less so in the second half of the year. Let's hope it's the other way around this year. That's my main hope. It's hard when we saw all the success last year to remain patient. And there are many things that make you pull your hair out. It's like players just don't look the same at the moment, do they? Star players, players that played with such sort of pace and joy and inventiveness last year just seem a little slovenly at the moment. But I do think it's all part of this sort of bigger scheme, and confidence and momentum is everything, and it can be lost quickly and it can be gained very quickly. So let's hope this Saturday does present a chance, I think, to kind of really get things pointed in the right direction. This is a team we should be beating at home.
So looking at this game specifically, who would y'all what 11 would y'all roll out? I know there's a lot of people within the fan base who are already disillusioned with Jossie Zardes, but Maxi Urruti did not look like the answer against LAFC the other day. And so do we need to just say these are our best 11 players, put them on the field and let them play with each other until they figure it out? Or should Josh Wolf keep kind of tinkering and playing with things to try to improve results?
It's a really good question, something I've pondered. Can I say right here and now publicly, I miss Moussa Djite. I wish.
I think it's fine. Yeah.
I really wish we still had him, because he provided that different option at number 9 that I don't feel like we have in the 3. I don't know, but what I do know is the team we put out there and the plan we have has to center around getting Sebastian Drusi on the ball in the penalty area. It just, to my mind, that isn't happening enough at the moment. And for whatever reason, tactically or personnel-wise, it is not happening nearly as much as it did last year. I mean, how many times last year did we see him just arrive at the perfect time in the penalty area to get on the end of something? Time and time again. Hasn't happened this year. Yeah. Barely hasn't happened. So that to me is where you start. So whatever decision you make as a coach and as a team, it has to revolve around getting your superstar more involved in the dangerous area of the field, because at the moment he's not.
All right. Well, anything else before we wrap up, Adrian?
Oh, I have one.
Oh, you have one more question?
Oh, I said a statement, Adrian. It was so, Austin gets blown out by LA on Saturday, and then flipped it on a little bit later and watched you call this dramatic RSL comeback. It was just so weird to be in the middle of the Austin angst, and then also hear And then hear a very excited Adrian Healey going crazy over goals being scored. So hopefully this week that excited Adrian Healey will be because Austin's scoring goals.
Yes, I would like that very much. It's only my second league visit there. I got to call one goal last time around, and even that was kind of a truncated call because remember that was the Gallagher goal where it wasn't given until they went to VAR. So
yeah.
But it's funny. I'm glad you caught some of that RSL game, Jeremiah, because they were in a really bad run of form. They'd lost 4 straight. They'd lost the last 2 games 4-0. And they'd had a frustrating first half against Charlotte where they'd missed 2 of it. It just looked like they were never going to score. Then all of a sudden, I mean, you saw what happened in the second half: 3 goals in 7 minutes, and they played out of their skin. And it can change that quickly in this league. That's the beauty of it, and sometimes it's the frustration of it. It really can change like that. So I hope I get to the game against Vancouver at home last year, 3-0 at the same time of year. I think it was a mid-April or late April game. That was one of their most comprehensive home displays of the season. So let's hope they can produce a carbon copy. That'd be nice. I'm ready for it. My vocal cords are need to be stretched. So.
All right. Well, Adrian will be on the call with Kobe Jones this Saturday on MLS Season Pass on Apple TV. Adrian, thanks so much for joining us again. It's a pleasure as always, and look forward to seeing you again soon.
Thank you so much, guys. And actually, last thought, Kobe loved the tacos at Q2 that we had before the game last time. So I think he's looking for a repeat. He said they're the best tacos he'd ever had. Anyway.
Did you do Valentina's or
yes.
one taco?
Yeah, Valentina's, yes. So,
okay. They're delightful. Yeah, good. glad Kobe knows a good taco.
Yes, he does, indeed. See you Saturday, guys. Enjoy the game. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks, Adrian.
Thank you.